Welcome back to The Short Coat, coming to you from the amazing and intense world of med school at the University of Iowa Carver College of Medicine. I'm Dave Etler. It's not important right now. Forget that fact. We are careening toward the end of the first semester of medical school for the first years. And as I like to do this time of year, I wanted to hear from some M1s about their thoughts about how it went, the wins and losses. Just getting your perspective on how both we and they did. My co-hosts being M1s, all miraculously made of 100% deviled eggs. It's Jonah Albrecht.
Howdy.
He's better than a delicious pork tenderloin. It's Alex Johnson.
What's up?
Even more delightful than a loose meat sandwich, it's Trever Maiers.
Howdy.
He has more layers than a hot beef sundae. Or he will when he gets here, because he's in some sort of meeting, which I think is rude. It's Chris Ceplecha. I hope I said that right. Did I do that right?
I think so.
Alex would know.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. It's a rare all-Iowan broadcast.
Indubitably.
So I'm happy to see you guys. Maybe somebody can just sort of sum up their experience in one sentence. The first semester of M1 year.
In one sentence?
Let's hear from. I'm going to pick one of you at random. Let's hear from Alex.
I'd say hard but fun. There's so much stuff they throw at you, but I made so many new friends, like these guys right here. Mm-hmm. I knew Chris in undergrad, but it's been a really enjoyable experience, but it is difficult and it is a lot of info.
It's like the hardest fun thing that you can do, like med school. Like it is really difficult, like Alex said, but like to reiterate, like I've had a blast. Like time flies when you're having fun, and like we're almost done with the first semester, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to have that moment where I realized like how far we're actually, how far we've come basically, right? Like how much we've actually had the opportunity to learn. And if someone's been asking me this semester how I've been doing, I will always say, I'm living the dream. And most people would consider that a cry for help.
Well, yeah, which, let's be clear, when med students most of the time say living the dream, there's a little bit of sarcasm there. It's, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit, but no, and I probably meant it sarcastically most of the time. But I am actually living the dream. Like I have to remember that, I actually really wanted this for pretty good portion of my life so far. And so for me to be able to have the opportunity to be here, like, we are living the dream, even if the dream is sometimes
a nightmare,
more similar to a nightmare. Yeah. But we're here, we're having fun.
Well, good. So we, planning the show, we were trying to figure out like, we could just talk about it, but think about maybe us giving some awards out to the various aspects of med school. Right, Jonah?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got it's kind of like a beautiful hybrid between Oscar nominations and possibly a draft, possibly end of year ESPYs. Pick your favorite. We're gonna try to do a little bit of everything. But
I can think of no better combination than Oscars, awards, and football. I feel like that's in sports, right?
I like that too.
All right, guys. So first up, we've got the biggest draft bust. So things that we drafted first round turned out to be useless. Something you maybe were trying off the bat that you thought was going to be helpful. Turns out it's not. So I would love to hear your guys's while I think of an answer.
Yeah, I can go first on this one. I think my biggest draft bust was like for a solid like 2 weeks. I tried to just not go to class at all, not even watch lectures, like just take the lecture material that they
seems very counterintuitive.
Yeah, right. I thought I could learn everything on my own, maybe Headstrong or whatever. I gave it a whirl and it was not successful. We'll put it that way. I go to class now.
Why did you start out that way?
So I didn't start out. I used like foundations as kind of like a trial and error to just like try different like study strategies.
As you should, because it doesn't work the same for everybody, and it certainly doesn't work maybe the way it used to work,
right?
For most med students.
And so for one of the blocks of foundations, I was like going to class all day, and then I didn't have that much time to study, and so I thought I could save 4 hours of the day by not going to class or not watching the lectures and just learning it all on my own. And that did not work very well.
Yeah. Okay. Learning it all on your own. So you were like YouTubing it? What were you doing?
Yeah. So it was like, I would take like whatever content was like, say like some concept, and I would like read the slide, I would read the handout, like see if it made sense to me, because I learn very well by like reading or like watching a video. And so then I would just take that concept and I would, Google it, YouTube it, and then I would like watch the video. But what I ended up finding was that like if you compile like 10 or 15 YouTube videos, it's like actually longer than just sitting in class. So it actually wasn't very time efficient.
I didn't personally do this, but I had a tough time thinking of something. So this is the first thing that came to mind. For my biggest draft bust, I had pre-studying coming like in the summer before you start medical school.
Thank you.
Yeah, if there's anyone who has been accepted and you're wondering, what do I do between now and starting med school? Studying is not on that list anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
You should not do that. And you'll have so much time to study in med school, and we're just getting into it. We're just starting it. So enjoy, like be a bum this summer. Go travel someplace you want to. Go travel the world. Do anything but look at, gluconeogenesis and all that stuff.
Don't, try to learn the cranial nerves. It's just, no.
God, no. And
Good luck.
And you've said this before, Dave, but it's one of those things where like everyone, the faculty, the staff here at the med school, their job is to educate you.
Yeah.
They know how to do that.
Yeah.
Get here and let them do that. But before med school, you need to do the things that are going to fill your cup, right? Like I was in Greece, sitting on a beach for, a few weeks, and I was in Colorado hiking for longer than that. And those are the things that helped me fill my cup. So that way when I got here to med school, I was ready to go. I was recharged and just ready to face the onslaught of content, right? But in terms of pre-studying, just don't do it. Just get here, let med school, let the faculty, let the staff do their jobs and teach you.
Yeah. I think for some people there might be facing the anxiety of being like, okay, I know this is going to be different. Mm-hmm. I know that I'm going to, fumble around for a bit. I'm going to try to get ahead. That's just, I don't know. Probably doesn't work all that well. Plus, you need to learn what your professors are going to teach you, not what you think they're going to teach you, because you're going to be tested on it someday, and you got to give the answers that the professors give you.
Yeah, and it's there's also not a single book that will give you all the content for every single medical school exam. I mean, first aid for step 1, fine, that'll give you the content that you're expected to know for step 1, but not every test at Carver is always 100%
comprehensive.
Yeah, it's not comprehensive. It's not going to be a 1-to-1 correlation between step 1 and your Carver exams. There's always going to be something else maybe that you go into more depth to here. You're just not going to be able to learn the content.
And things are presented in a specific order for a reason here.
Yeah.
Like it's not just, random facts. So,
right.
I don't know.
For my biggest draft bust, I thought that I was going to be able to do all the things that I did in undergrad to prepare for every single exam. And that was 100% not the case. When I first got here, especially in foundations, like I was trying to use all the different study strategies that I used in undergrad for every single lecture, every single concept. And I very quickly figured out that not only was that an inefficient use of my time, it was also something that sucked up a lot of time and completely took away any semblance of balance that I was hoping to have in my personal life or in my life outside of medical school. And I had to very quickly adjust. Luckily at Carver, we have a learning specialist who was able to prioritize the things for me that were working very well in terms of what was actually going to prepare me better for my exams and help me improve my performance. And through that, I was able to basically triage what I was able to do while still being able to have the life that I wanted to outside of medical school.
Okay.
Jonah, can you explain what Foundations is for people who don't know?
Yeah, that's a good thing for our non-Carver friends here. Foundations is basically, I think of it like your intro to med school, basically. It's all of the things that you did in undergrad, right? So it's your biochem, it's your genetics, not all of genetics, but a good amount. It's like the genetic basics, basically. foundations, if you would, right? It's the foundations of the things that you're going to use in your later courses, right? That's in contrast to what all the M1s are in now, which is MOHD, Mechanisms of Health and Disease, which is like the meat of medical school, the content, the physiology, and soon the pathophysiology that they're going to teach us. So that's
you think it's fair to say the foundation is like a refamiliarization in some ways of the things that you're going to need to build upon to get all of the stuff later.
100%. They're trying to ease you into medical school, and they really do.
They do a good job of
I
that.
think they do.
I think so too.
Do a really solid job of easing you in here, because if you had started this off with 5 a day MOHD lectures, I think that would have been really challenging. And so
you can try different study strategies like Trever did, and if it doesn't work, that's okay. You did it at a time where you didn't have as much content to cover, and now you have refined those study strategies in MOHD where you have more content to know. And so they do a very good job of easing you into it here at Carver.
And I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but like a lot of the stuff we learned in foundations is like already making its way back. Like I feel like some of the stuff even on this last exam, like a lot of the histology that we learn, like that foundational knowledge that you learn in histology, like for foundations at least, like helps you so much, like when we're learning the stuff we are now.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think years ago when we redesigned our curriculum, that there was that intention of sort of revisiting, weaving stuff in and out to sort of revisit topics in various other contexts than the one that you first or second or third time you heard that thing.
Yeah, and
so that it keeps getting reinforced.
that's even how we are being taught histology, even within a unit, but also between units, right? So for histology, for example, Dr. Swales, shout out Dr. Swales. I would murder for that man. Cut that.
Why, are you actually planning on murdering? I'm not cutting that, Jonah.
Yeah, this guy
Jonah's
right
like,
here.
God damn it, I can't murder anymore.
I'm not hanging
med
out
school
with you
to
anymore.
murder.
dude.
I was gonna murder.
I know, that was my game plan. No, but Dr. Swales is fantastic. He's one of my favorite presenters that we have, and he's in everything. He's in anatomy. He's in MOHD. He was in foundations. So
And he has a hell of an accent.
hell of an accent.
Yeah, he does.
Capillaries.
Tubes.
Yep,
Tubes.
Tubes.
Capillaries.
Capillaries.
He's Australian for anyone who
Yeah.
did not get our rudimentary accents there.
Yeah.
But so he teaches us histology for a given unit at the beginning of the unit, and then he also does a massive review at the end of the unit, right? And just bringing up all those concepts, refining our ability to distinguish between different types of tissues. And then he was also teaching us it in foundations, and the foundations that he gave us there are being applied in every unit since.
Yeah.
So
Trust the process.
trust the process.
It works.
Yes, sir.
All right, so moving on to numero dos. We have undrafted free agent MVP. So this is what nobody talked about in preseason that became essential. What do we got?
Thank you for explaining that, by the way. I am not a sportsman. I'm not a sportsman at all.
Yeah, I don't think undrafted free agent MVP is
I don't know what any of that means. The
something-
thing you might have
Yeah.
liked to know about.
Oh, okay. I guess I do kind of have something. I wish somebody would have told me, and maybe this just works for me, but like repetition over like in-depth like review of the knowledge. Like I think if you see something a lot more, like at least in med school, because we just get so much of it, like I wish somebody would have told me to like focus more on like doing passes, multiple passes, instead of like deep dives. I just like continuously like come back and like review, not like read the same thing, but just like engage with the content multiple times instead of like doing one really deep, like I know this now, but 3 days from now I don't know it.
And that was something that the learning specialist here at Carver was really emphasizing to us before med school, in trying to give us, I guess, a ideal study strategy that, you know, is not universally applicable. But she was also stressing to me in our private meetings was have your first pass, right? There are going to be holes in your knowledge. That's okay. You're not trying to fill them all now. There are not enough hours in the day for you to completely understand every topic covered in a day by the end of the day, right? But get that initial pass, try to retain what you can from it, and then throughout the next 2 weeks, you know, before your exam on that topic, be able to try to fill in those holes every few days. that was something that became incredibly helpful for me.
So what does that look like in practice?
Yeah. So all of our lectures here have their learning objectives, right?
Yeah.
So these are the things that they want to talk about in the exam. Some of them are longer than others, right, for different topics. But you get your learning objectives, and for me at least, what this looked like, I would actually just take a blank sheet of paper and try to answer each learning objective at the end of the day.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I would spit out what I could, spit out what I remembered, and then if I still had time, because, again, time management is a real thing, but try to go back through the lecture and just fill in those rudimentary holes, right? So what was one learning objective that I absolutely remembered nothing for, right? Try to fill in those gaps. Then when I came back to the content 2 or 3 days later, maybe when I had a little bit more time to take a deep dive, maybe it was the weekend, actually being able to review the handout, right, and review the mechanisms, review all the diagrams, and be able to expand upon those rudimentary answers to those learning objective questions.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like for me. But Trev, what did it look like for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, this kind of goes back to my failed study strategy. So, like, for me, like, my first pass is, like, sitting in class or, like, watching the lecture. And, like, when I sit in lecture, like, I take notes and I, like, try to understand. But I know that, like, I won't know everything. But it's amazing, like, how much you do actually retain just by, like, sitting in the lecture hall, I found. And then I try to, like, review. We get handouts for every lecture, for those that don't know. And I try to review the handouts on my own, like, a couple days after. And then, like, a couple days after that, then I'll do another pass where I try to write everything in my own words. I try to get, like, 3 passes of everything. That's, like, my goal. And that's how I do it.
And how often do you achieve your goal?
Yeah, so it's a goal.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I'm not going to make fun of you for it because I feel like it's crazy talk sometimes.
Right, yeah. I do not get 3 passes all the time, but I usually get at least 2.
Okay.
If I'm really on top of it, I'll get 3, but not everything gets 3.
Good man.
Yeah.
Good man. What you got, AJ?
I think similar to you guys, I think my undrafted free agent MVP is knowing that, like, being okay with not knowing everything, because so much content is thrown your way and there's always going to be more to study. I mean, you could wake up and study all day and there are so many resources there for you that you could study until you go to bed and do that every day, and you would just keep going. And so finding that balance, I know that everyone talks about it. Everyone's working towards it. I don't know if anyone ever has it. But I think once I accepted the fact, like, okay, I'll know, I don't know, 85% of this or around there, then it makes it a lot less stressful if there's stuff that I am really struggling with. And obviously I'm still trying to understand said information. But to Trever and Jonah's points of the passes are really important. And obviously you need some depth of knowledge to be able to actually understand and not just regurgitate something. But having those passes in conjunction with knowing that it's okay that I don't know everything brings me a lot of peace, and I can not always be stressing about content.
I think the stress can get in the way.
Definitely.
It certainly doesn't help. Makes you feel like crap.
Yeah.
I think it sort of blocks you a little bit.
I agree. It makes it tougher to start back up studying sometimes, which seems kind of paradoxical because you think the stress would make you want to study more.
It makes me avoidant of whatever I'm stressed about. So.
I'm the same way. And so that's why I'll always give myself Friday afternoons off. We only have, well, for the most part, only have Friday exams here at Carver. We have one exam on a Monday, but that's an outlier. And so I always give myself Friday afternoons off to mitigate that. And I'll do some stuff over the weekend, but that's my time to relax, and I have to keep that.
Yeah, I think that goes right in line with what I was going to say. And it's really like, when you get to med school, they're probably going to have a lecture in orientation that's talking about balance and what that looks like for different med students. What they don't tell you is that it's really hard to do that. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. They really did tell us that. They were like, this is not going to be something that is going to be easy for you all. I think that for me, I had to be incredibly intentional about creating that balance for myself. It's really easy to take time off, but then it doesn't really become time off because you're just freaking out about all the things that you still have to do. So for me, I had to be incredibly intentional about creating that space for me to have that time off, to be able to take a breather. So that way I was ready to go for the next week. And like Alex says, he takes Friday afternoons off. I take all of Saturdays off. I like watching college football. I'm doing it tomorrow. I'll tell you that. Georgia, Alabama.
Big one.
Yeah, Indiana, Ohio State. I'll be watching those. And that was I guess this comes out next week, so you guys know the answer to how those games went. If you're football people.
Don't tell us.
Yeah, actually, if you could just message me right now, let me know. That'd be wonderful. I'll drop my email in the show notes. But I had to be able to give myself that time off, and I think that made me better for the rest of the week because I knew that I was going to be able to have a break soon. So just being intentional about that is important.
Provocative statement. The people who seem to be crushing it are lying.
The people who seem to be crushing it are lying.
Can you think of people who are crushing it, or who seem to on the outside, they seem to have no?
Are you talking about like a veneer
problem with this?
Like a veneer of overconfidence?
I mean, not overconfidence, but like you look at them and you're like, damn, that person's doing great here.
Like they put on a face here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But actually, they're not doing too hot.
The people who, if there are any, who I don't think are projecting an outward appearance that is, I guess, truthful to who they are, I try to engage with those people less. I like talking with the people who are, I would say.
But wait, so you think there are people like that who are?
I think there are,
and it's not
a strong possibility of some.
I don't want to say that it's the fault. Like people are doing it on purpose,
Yeah.
or like trying to be put on a face that they're just doing it as maybe they're doing it as a protective mechanism or something.
I think we all like to seem like we have it all together, but I don't think that any of us have ever. If I ask you guys how you're doing,
Well, you guys are buds. So.
well, I feel like you guys are very honest with like, hey, this sucks. But even the people that I feel like, man, they seem very calm all the time. I'll get behind the scenes and just be chatting with them, and I'll realize we're all in the same boat of, oh my god, 5-alarm fire all the time.
Yeah.
But it's all okay. That's my perspective at least.
Yeah, I feel like nobody wants to look dumb or like feel like they don't know what's going on. And when you're like in school with like everybody who's like really smart, like obviously you have to be to go to med school, like maybe sometimes people then put on a little more like fake it till you make it kind of face. And I don't know if that's like necessarily a bad thing, but just like to them, like that's kind of what keeps them going.
Well, I feel like what's the alternative is to be sort of pessimistic and like, oh, I'm never gonna be able to do this, which that would be defeating.
I think there's a distinction though between pessimism and authenticity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's a great thing to be authentic. And I'm not saying everyone has to be negative all the time or like act like they're freaking out all the time just because others are. I think that being authentic to how you're actually feeling is a great way to build community and culture. Mm-hmm. Because if something sucks and someone, maybe internally is having one of those freak out moments but isn't sharing that with anyone, that person is going to internally struggle more.
Yeah, that would suck.
That can seriously affect well-being for people. So I hope everyone's is being authentic, but that's not something I try to like investigate for people. Like I don't try to, interrogate.
Yeah, fair enough.
I feel like we have a lot of that here though too. Like, I mean,
a lot of what?
Like authenticity.
Oh, okay.
Like everybody kind of just was like, even when I was like sitting to take the test, like everyone was like, I was like, how you guys feeling? And they're like, oh, and it's like, it's kind of nice to know that you're just like in the foxhole with someone else. And
We
like,
just came from a test, by the way.
yeah,
so.
sorry. Yeah.
So if you're wondering why we're making absolutely no sense this entire podcast, I think that that probably has a strong.
Because your brains are full of the GI tract. Or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think they're full of. I don't.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if I have two thoughts to rub together right now. So,
You're doing great.
what's the saying? It's like I've got two brain cells and they're both competing for third.
You're doing great.
I've never heard that one.
That's what I feel like right now. Good to go to the next one.
Yeah. Okay. Anytime you like.
All right. Well, actually, I think we should just take a minute and let's just enjoy the silence on air.
Oh yeah, because you know what? A lot of podcasters really love dead air.
Yeah.
It's really great.
I think the doors are open right now, so you
New
can hear
niche.
just the ambient sounds of the Carver College of Medicine.
Yes, on a Friday afternoon.
So
afternoon
crowded
at
in here.
3:30 p.m.
All right. Anyways, okay. So going on to the next one. So the play nobody saw coming, which is the thing about med school that completely blindsided you.
I've talked to some M2s about this, and it sounds like this is just a fall semester M1 thing, but I came into med school, I'm thinking, all right, we'll be in class a decent bit, but it won't be that much more than undergrad, and we'll just have a ton of time to study, and we're all diligent, so we'll do our studying and it'll be fine. We're in class basically 8 to 4, Monday through Thursday, exam Friday. We don't have anything else usually if it's an exam on Friday, but if no exam, it's 8 to 4 Friday. And it makes it tough to do stuff outside of school and to also get your studying done and to work out and exercise and eat healthy and see all your friends and family. It's tough. And I think everyone's working towards finding that balance. But we have a lot of small group stuff here at Carver, and some of that stuff ends next semester. Or I guess anatomy is the big thing. We have anatomy first semester, so we won't have we have neuroanatomy next semester, but we won't have lab for that. Or we'll be in the lab a lot less, so that frees up like 5-6 hours a week there
Easily.
So it's looking up, but and Carver does a great job of helping you manage that. And like we talked about with foundations, they ease you into it really nicely. But yeah, being in class
You were
a lot.
surprised by how long you'd be here at Murph.
Yeah,
There's a
I'd
lot
just
of
be studying.
small groups. There's a lot of just little assignments that
Yeah.
you just have to keep track of.
Yeah.
And I also wasn't expecting that. I thought it was just gonna be kind of free wheel.
what I
You get your
thought.
lectures, deal with it, and then you've got
Well, that's a very undergrad thing, right? I mean,
Well, no, I think in undergrad I had a lot of those like smaller assignments. I mean,
Okay.
I didn't go here for undergrad, so I guess it could have been a different experience for us. But
I feel like I had a ton of time, but it may be that I was skipping class. I don't remember.
Whatever works.
It didn't work.
You guys are over 2, man.
It did not work. There's a reason I'm not a med student. Didn't work.
Third time's charm.
The thing that I've learned the most since being here is like nothing is really that difficult on its own. So like we're here like 8 o'clock, you sit in a lecture, 1 hour, it's like, you know what, that stuff's not that bad. And then it's like, I could learn that. And then you sit in another lecture for another hour and you're like, oh, that's not that bad. I could learn that. You sit in for 2 more lectures and you're like, it's kind of a lot of stuff, but like that's still pretty easy to learn. And then you eat lunch and you're like, all right, it's time to go. Like
You do usually have a lunch break. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
gotta take your time.
Lots of free lunches too.
And then you're like,
Free food.
yeah, but then you're like ready to go. You're like, all right, gonna study, gonna learn everything. And it's like, wait, you got a 3-hour anatomy lab or you got a 2-hour small group. And it's like, okay, now it's 5 or 6 o'clock or 4. It's usually like 4. But then like that's when you start to study, and like that's the thing I didn't see coming. I thought I was gonna have a lot more time to learn the content.
Yeah,
Definitely.
100%.
Do we just not do a good job of telling you that ahead of time, or is it, or
I just don't know if you can like mentally prepare yourself for that. Like everyone says it's going to be hard, but like in your head, at least I was like, what is that actually going to look like? And then, once you get in it, that's when it's like, this is what it actually looks like.
Yeah, okay. That confirms kind of what I was thinking you were saying, because I feel like no one can, you can say it's going to be hard, but nobody knows what that means or how that's going to feel or anything like that.
And I heard this from a medfluencer. This is not an original thought. I have very few of those. But
Yeah,
the
I've noticed. I don't know why I said that.
Hell,
kid, all right.
I know, yeah.
That's fine. That's fine, man.
Happy Friday.
you got that third brain cell yet, Jonah?
Nope. So, basically, they said none of the individual pieces of content from med school is truly that challenging, right? If you had long enough, you could digest any of these individual pieces of content. It's really just the pace.
So much of it.
It's
so
the
fast.
It's the pace that they get you with. So, anyways, I heard that from somebody else, but I thought it rang really true.
Provocative statement,
Okay.
since you brought it up. The tricks and tips from upperclassmen are mostly useless.
Oh, I disagree.
Okay.
I think the M2s have been so helpful, and I think that's part of just the culture here at Carver. They do a great job of having great people, and they're all super helpful. But I'd say that's one of the most helpful resources I've got, and all the faculty are very helpful too. But any question I have, I feel confident going to an M2, M3, M4 about it. So
The M2s here are a very opinionated class, I think. This is not a knock on them, by the way. I love them. I also think they've been just incredibly helpful, very kind to us, very supportive. And they've also instilled, I think, the right culture in us, one of being supportive, collaborative, definitely not competitive, which are all really important things that I looked for in med school I was choosing. They are very opinionated. So if you ask them about a certain lecture, you'll get very strong opinions either direction, right? This is not necessarily like a negative thing, which is a really good thing. They're not going to hide their opinions from you, which is really nice. And trust me, M1s, future M1s, when you guys get here next year, we'll be doing the same thing for you, hopefully.
tell you how it is.
Yep.
The M2s have been extremely helpful, not just even with like academics, but there's a lot more things that you have to do kind of as like medical students, like setting up your like connections or like setting up your summer. And I feel like every M2 that I've talked to has never turned you away. If anything, they've opened up more doors for us. And like everyone's been saying, like that's super invaluable. Like you feel right at home, like right away. And yeah.
I think we'd all prefer to be in that sort of environment than the other kinds.
Definitely.
Yeah. By the way, cut this later, but where is Chris?
I don't know.
Maybe the meeting was at 3 and I don't know.
One of you text him?
I did.
Oh, you did? You already did.
Maybe I had do not disturb on CD. He thought we were starting at 3:30.
Oh, boo.
3:37.
Slow clap for him when he finally gets there.
There you go. That's some time management right there.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. I thought we were starting at noon today. So
No,
You guys see
fair
that
enough.
email?
no, I sent it only to you.
Oh, you sent it
No.
only to me?
I was
Okay.
sitting here like I got all my buttons ready, and I was like, "Where the hell is where?" Like, so I sent an email to Jonah, and he like zipped in and was like, "It's at 3, Dave."
And then I zipped right
And
back.
then he left, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm an asshole."
We were right in the middle of like our last minute cram sesh because
Yeah.
his email
Exam
came in
one.
at like 12:20. I literally just like sped walked,
sure.
whichever of those. Anyways, I walked in here. I just poked my head in the door. He goes, "Oh, thank God! Like finally." I was like, "It's at 3," and I just turned it around. I didn't even wait for a response.
Got histo slides to look at.
Small
I
intestine,
know.
large intestine.
I know. I was like, "Come on, man! I got other things."
It's that
So many
it's,
tubes.
it's that time of year, I guess. Maybe we're all losing our shit.
All right, let's log back in. Here we go. So the next one coming up is the best role player. So the tool, app, technique, person that quietly did the work, not the star players / official materials.
I can take this one again. I don't know if this is like a hot take or not, but ChatGPT, love it or hate it, is really good at explaining
Hold on
things.
1 second. Sixth man off the
Let's
bench.
go.
Mr. Chris Ceplecha has entered the room.
The play nobody saw coming.
Stealing my thunder.
Yep. 40
Thanks for
minutes
coming,
into
Chris.
recording.
Thank you for waiting.
Oh, we didn't.
We've been going,
Sorry,
man.
we've been going, man.
We're 34 minutes in.
That's all right. That's all right. Sometimes
jumping
we were just saying that you're not. I also had a little mental schedule glitch today. So
Right now, we're discussing the best role player. So this is the tool, app, technique, or person that quietly did the work, not the star players / official materials.
start your answer again, sir.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if this is like a hot take or whatever, but I think ChatGPT is a very good resource if you use it the right way. I should explain how I use ChatGPT. If I'm sitting in the lecture hall and I do not understand like the concept, or like I've looked at the slide like 4 or 5 times and I really just can't get the concept down, I'll ask ChatGPT about it and I'll be like, "Can you explain this to me?" And like you can tell ChatGPT to do it in like any way you want, and like what I've done in the past is like I do really well with like putting things together with like stories. And so I tell ChatGPT like here, like tell me about this concept and like put it in like a story or something. And I use that, and that really helps me like nail down concepts. It's not doing all of the work, but like it kind of gives me that like light bulb moment, and I think it's very helpful.
Okay. I mean, I like how you're using it. I'm a big kind of AI user myself. I try not to let it do my thinking for me, though.
Right.
Well, on your recent AI searches, you did have "Should we fear AI?" So
now look.
To Trevor's point, I don't use ChatGPT a ton, but it is useful for explaining concepts like that. And with what we were talking about earlier, Chris, we mentioned that like the volume of content is the tough part about med school, not that any concept is too difficult to understand on its own. But some are tougher, but because it's not super duper complex, ChatGPT doesn't have trouble with explaining it. Like I remember in undergrad, I freaking hated physics, dude. It was the worst. So I tried everything to do better, and I tried ChatGPT. I'm like, do this homework problem for me because I can't do it, and it didn't work. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But for this kind of stuff, and obviously, you're double checking the facts as well. But it definitely has its uses.
what I've really liked using is open evidence. So ChatGPT obviously fed on the entire internet. Open evidence is fed more on like your, I guess, primary literature, like your research articles.
I haven't heard of open evidence.
Cool. So it's a really nice tool. It's
pretty new.
Someone described it to me as like ChatGPT for doctors, basically. I found it to be really helpful, especially when we're in our case-based learning sessions and we are applying clinical concepts at a level that, frankly, we're probably not ready for yet, which is why we're in CBL. And it's been really helpful in explaining just simple clinical concepts to me. And yeah, I really liked it for that. And actually, Dave is pulling it up right now.
Yeah, I've never seen it before. One thing that I use for my work here often is Notebook LM, which is a Google property. You all have access to it, where you can give it your sources. So you could, I could see, I've not obviously been able to try this, but I could see how you could give it your notes and whatever other sources that you find elsewhere. You throw it in there, and it basically confines itself to those sources that you give it or find, rather than trying to use all of the shitty information that's out there on the internet about various things, like, mRNA vaccines are bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's one that I think is pretty useful in organizing thoughts.
And I think this hits on an important point, which is that there are so many resources that you can use in medical school. You can't use them all. So
Don't try to use them all.
don't try to use them all.
Yeah,
It's a bad idea, but being able to take a look at a few things and find, even before med school, if you're going, don't pre-study, but have an opportunity to just take a look at some of these resources beforehand to decide if there's something that you will want to use when you're in med school. And the other thing is you have to be ready to switch it up. You have to be okay with adjusting on the fly, changing your study strategies, changing your tools that you're using, because some of them just frankly won't work, and some of them didn't for me. But anyways, Chris, what do you got, man? The best role player.
Sounds terrible to say, but your colleagues. I feel like a lot of the time we get stuck in doing Anki. I'm sure you've already talked about that when I was...
Actually, we haven't yet.
Really?
Yeah, Anki hasn't.
We could do a whole episode on that.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'll leave that aside for now, but I would feel like my main tool is using Anki, but hearing different perspectives from other people like Trever, AJ, or Jonah, and seeing how their perspective changes when they explain the narrative, because like Trever mentioned, I really enjoy thinking of it as a story, and a lot of the time you can track physiology that way, but when you have someone else explain it for you, it just paints a different picture that you're not used to seeing. And for that reason, I should probably change my main study strategy to asking for other people's perspective before going to Anki, but I would say that would be my biggest.
And that's a mutually beneficial thing, right? Like, and you do teaching, and it solidifies that learning for
Absolutely.
you. And also it helps
Absolutely.
others.
And I like the story aspect of it, Trevor, because I think people are into stories. And yeah, that's just another way to sort of build something in your head that's going to stick around.
That's how I like to think about like a lot of things, I guess, especially like physiology. Like if you look at all the facts, like there's 1,000,001 different vocab words. But like when you start to like piece the vocab words together and be like, oh, this is, it's a nice, concise like story. I think that makes most sense. And when you learn the whole story, you know all the vocab words, and that's how I learn the best. But I don't know. If you haven't tried it, I'd say try it. See what happens for you.
I might take a gander at that. That actually sounds
Love that.
pretty
That sounds
interesting.
cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tried that before.
Love a good story about the citric acid cycle.
Exactly.
All right. So next up, AJ, have you done best role player? I don't think you have.
No.
What you got?
I talked about, we have some patient visits that come in with the.
It's like your early clinical experiences, the ECEs, or he's just talking about something else.
This is a little different. So
yeah.
for whatever condition we're learning about, sometimes we'll have a real patient who has this condition or disease come in and talk to us about what their story is and how that has been for them. And I think that really puts things into perspective for me. Sometimes it can be, I think some people can get frustrated because it's time that you're required to be there and it's not testable material and it's time they think they could use to study. But in my eyes, I see it as it puts things into perspective for me. Like this is why I came into medicine, to help real people that happen to have this condition. It's not this condition that we learn about on the slides. Like these are real people with real stories and real backgrounds, just as deep, if not deeper than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going off that, I think mine would definitely be those experiences, those moments that help propel you through med school. It's not one of those things that you're able to point to on a daily basis, but for me, it's everything I did before med school, but also I've been really intentional about trying to set up some shadowing while I'm here in my M1, and it's not something that's going to enhance my clinical knowledge because I don't know a lot of the concepts that they're talking about yet. But for me, just to be able to see real patients, and maybe I can apply one or two things I'm learning about in class to real patients that day, it just reminds me that I'm doing this for a reason. I'm not sitting in lecture for the fun of it, right? I'm here to learn to do a job, to have the knowledge to be able to care for patients, to hopefully make people's lives better. And that is something that has been quietly propelling me through this semester, when we've been learning about things that maybe I didn't care about as much, that were more challenging for me to be able to settle down and focus on and pay attention to. All right, so next up, we've got the comeback player of the year. That is the study method, habit, or concept they benched, then had to put back in the game. So, Chris, we'll start with you since you just got here.
Yeah, of course.
What you got?
Handwritten notes.
Okay.
That's a habit.
That's a hot take.
I know, it's definitely a hot take. I dropped it from undergraduate, came back, and I was like, man, I'm tired of looking at a screen all day, clicking spacebar. And so busting out that piece of paper and pencil, sometimes pen, and it includes muscle memory. I feel as if, I don't know if there's actual studies that say that's what happens, but it's just a refreshing take from, the days of sitting down, looking at a computer screen, and then afterwards you're taking online icon quizzes, you're using other study resources like the anatomy, Netter's instruction online, that it kind of got to the point where it's redundant and almost fatiguing just to be sitting down and looking at a screen without actually moving anything.
So do you mark up the actual lecture, or are you just blank sheet of paper?
Blank sheet of paper, artist notebook, no lines, nothing. I want it completely blank.
Wow.
I think that just shows that it's different for different people, right? I mean, I've heard people here say there's just not enough time for that.
You don't do it during lecture, right, Chris? You do it after?
I do it after. So I will say there is
okay.
some caveats to that where I don't do it during lecture. I typically try to do not Anki during lecture, but make note cards. But when I'm getting tired or confusing and I want to do a different approach to my studying, I supplement it with taking notes.
All right.
So it's like telling a story. It's just another way of solidifying what's in there, bringing it back out, reviewing it.
I'm done playing with that thing.
I love that.
You want to say that again since there's a loud crash
No, it'll be fine.
Sweet.
Sorry about that, guys. I keep fidgeting with something.
Don't
and
worry
it
about it.
keeps
You don't
falling
even
out
have
of
to
my
worry
hand.
about stuff like that on the show. We're not NPR. Jeez. If you're gonna make a noise, make it really loud so that we can all laugh.
All right, AJ.
I didn't have anything crazy. I felt like I had decent study strategies from undergrad that I built because I got rocked my first semester coming into undergrad. I did so poorly on the first 3 Gen Chem exams and when I finally figured it out for the 4th exam, I got an email from the professor basically saying like, congrats on your massive improvement. And so it was kind of like a backhanded compliment, but I know he meant well.
That's great.
So I kind of had that come to Jesus moment when I was younger. But I did switch to, like Chris said, making flashcards during lecture, and then just being okay with, well, if I missed 5% of the information, so be it. If it comes up later before the exam, I'll learn it then. And then I don't stress as much, and I still do fine on exam.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up again. You said making flashcards during lecture. Are you making flashcards on the lecture content, or are you
Yes.
sort of half listening to lecture and then making other flashcards?
Yes, I'm doing them on the lecture that's being presented.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I understood.
Yeah. So that's worked. That's worked well, and I didn't start the year doing that, but I picked that up, and that's been good for me.
I feel like that would be harder for me to do if it were.
I could not do it in undergrad. Undergrad, I took notes. I just marked up on an iPad of the lecture slides, and then I made flashcards after the lecture. But with the amount of content we have, that is just not feasible.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You're reminding me. I keep comparing my own experience to your experience, but that was literally 40 years ago. We would go to class with a textbook and a notebook, and that was it. So your talk of iPads and online resources and stuff like that.
We're very spoiled.
It's a different. No, I wouldn't even say that. I just think it's a different world. Like
it is. We're not counting though. Don't worry.
All right. I am counting.
I also think you should see these guys work though. It is like I sit next to them in the lecture hall, and it's like rapid fire. Like it's fingers typing the entire time. Like I'm trying to write down notes, and like our professor will say something, and it's like note card done. I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, and I think one other thing, if you're worried about being able to make enough flashcards for the amount of content that you have, Carver, at least we have pre-made flashcards that are passed down from class to class that basically are able to cover a lot, if not all, the content that you're going to be presented with.
Yeah, you guys are just
during
being extra, man.
There's some gaps in there. I mean,
Okay.
the decks are great.
Yeah.
Just with
there are gaps. No, for sure.
but there are some.
Yeah.
So we supplement as needed, but most
Yeah.
of the time they're pretty solid.
Absolutely. Trev, what you got?
I'll kind of reiterate. I do kind of a hybrid, but the thing that I brought back the most was like notebook and paper. I don't know. Kind of like Chris said, like I don't like looking at a screen all day. When my eyes start to really like hurt, I don't love that, and I feel like I can write faster with a pen and notebook than I can like on my iPad. And so like just drawing structures out, writing them in my own words, bringing those kind of back and getting away from Anki. I still use it, but it's just not the best for me. So that's what I brought back.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
There are Anki people, and then there are not Anki people.
Very strong opinions on both sides.
Yeah. I feel like it's among the more polarizing study
Definitely.
techniques.
There are great people on both sides.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. As someone once,
definitely cut
as
that,
someone
please.
once said,
Definitely cut that.
I'm not cutting that one because it's true. That version of it is true.
You'll be successful regardless of what you choose, as long as you're choosing what works best for you. Both work.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I want to switch it up a little bit, going from study strategies to, I guess, just more like a broad application. And I think this is just gonna be your overall MVP. What's been your guys' favorite part about med school so far?
I can start. My favorite part about med school, honestly, it might sound cliche or corny, but like the people here are like the best. Like, not only like, they always say the admissions committee does a really good job at like getting people that gel together to get in at the same time, but like I think they're right. Like, not only like the students, like I've met so many friends, like you can go to anybody to talk to anybody about anything, anytime. You're bouncing ideas off each other. It helps you learn better. And like the faculty here, like you can tell that they like truly care and want you to succeed. Like, and that goes for like everything, not just like academics. Like, we have like a counseling center here too. We have like cool stuff like this podcast. Like, you feel at home here, and like when you feel at home, like I feel like you can like really strive well. So that's the people here have been the MVP.
Do you feel like you mentioned the faculty? Do you feel like that's a different? You feel like that's different from undergrad?
100%.
Absolutely.
Because that is one thing that I feel like probably hasn't changed in all these years, is that there's a sink or swim kind of situation going on in undergrad, and it's not that hard. You can swim okay, but there's less. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it hand-holding, or you can just call it support. I feel like there might be less support in undergrad if you don't seek it out intentionally.
Yeah.
And it's still true here. You've got to, sometimes you have to like step out and say, I'm having trouble. Whether that's to a friend, or whether that's to one of the counselors, or whether it's to a learning specialist. That's still true, but they somehow make it more evident, I feel like.
Definitely.
That they want to be there for you.
In our orientation week, they harp almost every day on all the resources that they have. Like with Jonah mentioned, the counseling center and the learning specialists, and the professors are always, if you have any questions, they're always saying, like, shoot us an email. We will happily respond and like fire that question and answer out to the whole class. So I will say it kind of creates a sense of when you're in orientation week and they harp on you with all this support stuff, it does kind of create a sense of like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fail at some point. It's just a matter of when. So that part, I
think the
wasn't
failing
great.
is kind of part of it.
Which is true.
I think it's part of the
which
process.
Is true. And I do agree. Like how I just talked about how I got rocked with freaking acids and bases in chemistry, and now I'm better for it. But that part, I like maybe draw back on the like you're gonna fail part, and talk more about like these are here if and when you need them. I don't know. I'm happy they let us know about the resources nonetheless.
I'm so very impressed by just the humility that's surrounded in Foster's and Carver. And I feel like that must be just some trait that they tend to key in on, because my favorite thing personally is saying, I don't know, because I just don't know, and I love to find out.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I feel it's frustrating when you run into someone that is the opposite of that response. But almost, I would say everybody here is just like, no, I don't know. And I'm here with you to go on that journey of figuring it out, and we can figure it out together. There was times like I asked Trever, you, Jonah, or AJ when I'm studying, I'm like, this sucks. This is just terrible. Like, what do you like? Do you know this? And
what we did 3 hours ago?
We don't have to talk about that.
We're not experts in medicine. We are experts in complaining.
Yeah.
That is exactly it. That is
I always
true.
say I would never take away anybody's God-given right to complain. You guys, that's part of it also.
Yeah. So that's my tidbit, definitely on the people, to pay respect to that. But I would say my favorite part so far, and this might be a hot take, was the ECEs, or the early clinical experiences.
Okay.
I was very fortunate to land with and placed with a urologist who let me experience some real action with a physician and with patient interactions. And I thought that was really cool. It introduced you to clinic really quickly. And although my preconceived notion was more so it being like a shadowing experience, and it definitely has some of that flavor in it where you're figuring out how to be this type of physician, this specialist, or a general physician. But certainly you get to interact more with patient dynamics, those who have to come from rural areas that go to a big academic institution hospital, and vice versa. So I would say the early clinical experiences have outshone what I was willing to give them at the beginning.
Yeah. What are the early clinical experiences? What's the point?
Yeah.
From your perspective, what did you get out of it? specifically?
I guess I'll put in a timeline. When I first did it, I was super excited. I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's urology! Like I've never even considered that before. It's a new thing I haven't explored." And then to talking to some other people and some older students and having some expectations maybe being dampened, and then going into it realizing
They were like, no.
yeah, no,
you
you're
don't
not gonna
want-
do that.
no.
Yeah. But it turned out to be a lot more of a educational and unique experience, and certainly I think that comes down to just having the unique opportunity and luck to be placed with someone who wanted to make it more than just a, hey, stand in that corner, don't get too close to me, and just look.
I've loved getting to know our class, spend time with our class, and I think we have just an incredible group of people that we have surrounded ourselves with, and that's made med school so much better. Also with the clinical experience, I mean, my ECE is something that's a little bit more specialized, so I feel like I get less out of it, but just shadowing experiences, like I was talking about earlier, just help get you through those really hard moments, remind you of the purpose that you're here for.
Provocative statement. Pre-med was harder than M1 in some way.
Okay, hot take. I'm going to say yes.
Yeah,
Here's why.
In some ways.
some ways.
And definitely in some ways. It's not really about the content that you're dealing with in M1 because, or a comparison between the two, because you're just going to have more content here. Now, is it more difficult? I don't know, because you've already had to learn hard stuff by the time you get here. So I feel like it's easier the second time. What I'm going to say, the harder thing about pre-med is the weed out factor, right? A lot of these classes are designed to try to get you off the track. And once you're here, they are really just trying to get you through, make you a better doctor, right? Or a better future doctor. And I think that is the really challenging thing about pre-med is, and there's also just some part of uncertainty about it, right? Like you don't know if you're going to be in medical school. You don't, I remember like when I found out I got in, I just had this relief of like, oh, I am good enough to do this. I am smart enough to do this. I have done enough to be able to do this. And that uncertainty, I think, weighed very heavily on me in my undergrad years, in my pre-med years. And I think just a weight was taken off my shoulders when that finally happened. But yeah, I would say just some pre-med cultures can also be really challenging, right?
I've heard that.
The competitiveness, the gunners, the people just trying to slash your Achilles so they can take one step in front of you, right? I think that's a really challenging thing to have to deal with. And I'm very fortunate to say that we don't have that here at Carver. Or at least I hope. I haven't met them yet, but I haven't met all our class, but I hope we don't have that here, because that's really something that I think is detrimental to a school's culture and environment. But I haven't been able to find it yet if it does exist here, and I think that's just a really positive thing about M1 med school in general that I don't think a lot of people had in pre-med. I
feel like you go from trying to do, like being a pre-med, trying to do it separately from each other, to med school, you're all doing it the same.
Yeah.
Together. It's a very different setup.
Yeah.
Which kind of helps too, probably.
I think pre-med's definitely, it can be harder, especially with the people you surround yourself with. I'm lucky to have known AJ for quite a while now, and our friend group and the dynamic we had was never tearing down on each other, just very supportive. But I've heard of other cultural groups and cliches or cliques, whatever you say it.
Cliches.
whatever that word is, something like that. There's just more negativity in pre-med because, like you mentioned, you're fighting one another for a spot that you might not get, and if you adapt that mindset, it's really easy to make a toxic culture that pushes you to compete with each other, to tear each other down, rather than, not like it's competitive, but you want to push each other more to do the best that you can. If you describe that as competitive, I'm not sure.
There's like some aspects where like I thought pre-med was harder for myself than it is now. I would say the biggest difference was when I was pre-med, like I was constantly trying to be at the top, and I would put a lot of pressure on myself to, get the good grades, because you did have to get the good grades to get into medical school. And like it's different now because I still try to do my best, but if I pass my test like I did today, like it
Yes, sir.
does not matter if I got 100% or like I just passed. Like I know I did my best on it. That pressure is like gone.
Well, so maybe there's a different reason for trying to do well.
Right. Yeah.
You're trying to do well because it will make you a better physician for the people that you're going to work for, your patients someday.
Right.
Whereas before it was all about just getting here.
Yeah, I think like in the past, like I try to learn everything still now, but like before I would hammer home every little factoid because I knew on the exam, you know, what would separate me from everyone else was nailing those little factoids down. However, now it's like there are factoids that we have to learn that, in my opinion, might not translate to like clinical practice, but like those big macro concepts that we're going to have to use down the line, I still try to learn those really well. I just focus less on the fluff, I guess, and I'm not so concerned with my score as long as I know those big macro concepts because it'll help me down the line.
I guess finally we've got the Iron Man
we can
Award.
make this
So
the last one, yeah.
this is the one thing or person that showed up and delivered every single week. What do you guys got?
I sound like a broken record a little bit, but just the classmates, I guess. Like, it's pretty easy to show up every day when you know people that are your friends are doing it with you. And so I would say just like showing up every day, seeing like people like you guys, like helps me get better and like makes us all a little bit better, I guess.
Sweet.
Hope so.
Shout out my cat Luna.
You have a cat?
I do have a cat.
Can I come play with your cat?
Certainly, why not?
Tell me about your cat, Luna.
Yeah, I have a cat. I got her in undergrad, but you know, total rock. Just
How do you have a
always
cat in
there.
undergrad? You didn't do undergrad like I did undergrad in a dorm.
Oh no, I had no.
You thought he was just on weekend benders? And
Yeah, I was like, it's never home. No, I've had a cat for a while, but you know, now I still have one in medical school, and you know, always complains at 6 a.m. for food. Wakes me up though, so I can get to class.
Hell
So
yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But you know, I think I recommend getting a pet to anyone who can do that for
So
med
we've
school.
had this question before from listeners who have like, I want to get a pet, but I'm not really sure I should, or I'll have time, or blah blah blah.
I think a cat is very.
I see the point, but
Yeah.
Cat's a lot better option.
Oh yeah, I can see how a dog might be difficult.
My girlfriend and I, like, we really wanted a dog, and God bless her, but she's, you know, working 312s, about to go to PA school next
Yeah.
year. And for me, I'm here I feel like I was born here, but I'm here all the time. And we didn't really think it'd be fair to the dog, unfortunately, to be there with
Yeah.
me.
yeah.
But
We have had people who have had dogs and have done well, except for the one podcaster who their dog set their apartment on fire.
I remember that. I remember that episode.
Oh, well, of course you do.
I remember that episode. Yeah.
Dang.
By the way, if anyone is
My
better,
MVP for this year is Jonah.
Yep.
Who posted on Instagram that the Short Go podcast was his number one. From
I think I had about 6,000 minutes on it. I was really bored in my gap year. So
Dedicated.
if anyone has better than like 0.5%, send it to Dave now. You
I
will
wanna
make
know.
his week.
Share your what is it, your Spotify
Yeah,
rap.
if there's 0.5% of you that have listened more than me, and I want to hear from you. I know you're listening to this. Send it in. I want your names and addresses. All right.
No reason.
I would say my Iron Man award has got to be my friends and family. I know we already harped on talked about all the friends and the people here, and I'd reiterate all that. But my family has been super great, and I'm not from too far away from here, and so it's feasible for them to come up. I don't know, maybe once a month, once every couple months. I get to see them pretty frequently, which I'm very, very thankful for. They're very understanding that I am very busy. I mean, we all are, but my mom said, she's like, oh, I want to call you every night, but they told us at the family and
family.
There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Day.
Friends and family orientation, that they're going to be busy. They'll call you. The kids will call you when you can. So she understands that I'm busy, but it's nice to be able to talk to them. They'll always listen listen to me complain because, as you mentioned, we're all very good at that. But yeah, they've been great.
Sweet.
Love them to death.
Yeah, I would, again, second what a lot of you guys have said, right? The people here have just been incredible, right? The people that we've surrounded ourselves with, people that I study with, people that put up with me, I think are definitely the people that are delivering every day. But there's so much that goes on behind the scenes and outside of Carver that supports us, that gets us through this stuff, right? So Alex was talking about his family. For me, it's also my family that's nearby. And, you know, when my car broke down yesterday, they're calling AAA and organizing everything because I'm trying to cram for this exam that we've got today. My girlfriend, who definitely, I think relationships are just really challenging in med school. And she's just been such an incredible rock for me. And for her to move to Iowa, 'cause she's from Boston, or from north of Boston.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
for her to just to be out here with me and supporting me and just helping me get through this, I think there's so many of those outside of med school supports that we'd be lost without. And so I'm really thankful to them.
You don't have to say her name, but shout out to Gertrude, Jonah's girlfriend.
She'll get mad at me if I call her Gertrude on the podcast.
I'm just choosing a pseudonym that I think might be appropriate.
shout out Victoria. Shout out Victoria.
Okay,
We'll shout out
Victoria.
Victoria. Yeah, she'll get mad at Gertrude. So
I gotta shout out my girlfriend too, because she's been my rock too. She's been very, very understanding of a lot of my time goes to studying, but we've made it work, and it's been great. So
Fantastic.
absolutely.
All right. Well, Shortcoats, if you've enjoyed our little get together here, tell a friend. That would be awesome. On YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. If you've got something you want us to know, go to theshortcoat.com/tell us and send us a message. Otherwise, we're done. That's our show. The week is over. I'm Dave Etler saying, don't let the bastards get you down. We'll talk to you in a week.
Say bye, everyone.
bye, Jonah.
Bye. God damn it, Dave.